Good evening, lords and ladies. I'm Night Before Dawn, and welcome back to Sons of the Forest. Today, I would like to go over, well, Update 5. It has made a few minor changes to building. Some of them are good, some of them are, I guess, not so good. But, well, they are what they are. So, one of the first ones here is they fixed a case where leaning a beam could link a free pillar with a structure on an incompatible placement grid. So that's pretty clear and obvious what they mean by that, because you used to be able to, if you came out somewhere like this, place that just not on the grid. And if you leaned a beam over, well, this is a bad example because I'm lower than that. I want to be at the same height or higher. So let's try this side here, right there. And then if I still lower, that's going to make things rather awkward. I did this in a pretty crummy spot. Maybe over here? Yeah, over here seems like it'll have something I can use. Let's just move it this way, about there. There we go, that should work. Now, you used to be able to place a log like that, and it would just snap across to the top of the other grid. You can't directly do that, but it is still possible to get it to link up. Just take a strut, place it in here, remove the strut, and then there you go. You're still connecting an incompatible grid, just using a different method to get it to work. It's pretty simple. And works quite well, actually. There's other things that this made me question. I was curious about how force snapping would work, since it mentioned that. Although the fact that I got it to work made me feel a whole lot better about it. But just as an example, I'll place this here, and can I get that there? Ooh, that's not quite going to work how I wanted it to, but I guess this one probably will. So if I go like this, and then remove that, that'll force snap over. So as you can see, force snapping is still going to work fine, and there's nothing really to worry about there. And another one that it's not directly mentioned, but it's related to force snapping, and that is if you have a gap that is 2 log lengths wide. It was just a recent discovery, but you were able to place a log there and a log there, and then slope down a log there. If you removed that, this would drop to the ground, and then you could remove this. Now that is no longer possible. So and I've played with it a lot. No matter how you do it, if I start at this end and go like that, and then this, it doesn't work. That didn't work very often before anyways. If I start over here, and go like that, and like this, they've just completely eliminated that horizontal stretching or horizontal twisting of ramps that you could do before. So I don't know what to say about that. You can't do it anymore, and it sucks, because that's just removing the ability to do more interesting structures from the players, and I think that was a bad choice, but it's the choice they made. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Something about fixed a context allowing to place a beam with the same support on both ends that isn't an apex or a wall. I can't think of any scenario where you would have the same support for both ends of a log, so I am absolutely confused, other than as a post, and then it's obvious and it still works. I don't know what they mean by that, so I can't really comment. the next one, fixed detached pillar placement, creating degenerate pillar if it fails to find supporting ground. Now properly prevents placement if there is no ground below. Could happen when placing off a cliff, for example. So, let's go over here, and I have this set up. I've set up here before to originally test this, and I was able to get it to work in the previous patch. You used to just come out here, look at the ground, and you'd look out here, you'd get the line in the bottom of your screen, and you would be able to place a log. Now, no matter what you do, you can't do it. You cannot build floating structures off cliffs the way Rip Diesel discovered you used to be able to. It is no longer possible. And I think that is another bad choice on behalf of the developers. Although, in this case, this one makes sense. Because you're not likely to be building a structure from the ground up. They're going for realism, and that one makes sense. You can still make floating structures. I've covered one in the past that still works. Actually, I've covered a couple in the past that still work. But the one I now recommend is another one by that Rip Diesel discovered. If you place down your structure and fill in the rest of the structure's walls, and you have to do this in its entirety. You can't add walls and remove walls as you're going to do it in sections. You have to do it in its entirety. So this has a high demand on the number of logs you use. But if you do this and then you take out the corner and then remove a wall. Oh, I hope I didn't mess things up. I don't think I did. Take out a corner, remove the wall. And you always want to be finishing with your last one as a wall being removed. If you try and do it as a post, it will not work. And you can do that for any size grid. It can be as small as 1 by 1 or, well, as big as the whatever grid you want. I'm testing something right now using that method to see if I can get it to do the exact same thing, and maybe I can build between them so that you might be able to build it afterwards a little bit. But let's just see if there's any limitations to that, because this could be very useful for stylizing things and not having to have posts in the middle of your rooms to support a roof or something that you really don't want to have posts to support. Especially useful when dealing with offset grids, because maybe you only want to half a log overhang or something along those lines. There we go. Just had to make sure the right one was gonna... There we go. And there we go. So, now I've got that separated, but I can't build a cross between them. So, if you do this, you'll want to build the entire structure first. And you'll have to put walls underneath every single log in the frame that you want floating. Because, well, I may be able to get this to work here. I highly, highly doubt it. Let's try that. Oh, yeah, if you build up from underneath like that, you can reconnect them. So I guess you can do it sectionally afterwards, but so you don't need quite as many logs using this method, which I think is good. I was a little concerned, but yeah, you can build literally any shape you want with this method. So, and credit for that goes to Rip Diesel. So let's carry on. What's the next one? That's not to do with building. That's not to do with building. This is not to do with building, but it is definitely one that is worth mentioning. They've made cutting, or lining up for cuts, a whole lot easier. Like, as you can see, I've got the red markers for this, and they're appearing quite easily. Even the one going this way. It's just got better. Although, if you're standing too close, it still doesn't show up properly. You have to back up and be about, I don't know, a half log length away for it to be consistent. If you get close, it does work sometimes, and so just stay back a little ways and it's better. It's a lot better than it was. Nope. Apparently defensive walls and defensive wall gates used to not take damage from player melee hits. Doesn't matter. They now do, apparently. Fixed leaning beams, sometimes accepting pillars on top of the bottom end before planks are added. So apparently they didn't want you to be able to make certain frames without having a proper full thing. You used to sometimes be able to place a log right on here and not have to lift it up. You had the choice. Well, now to get that, you need to place planks on here, at least one, and then you can do that. They've completely removed the ability to do it without the planks. So if you want just this for some reason, you have to build this side and then remove it to get that. I mean, I can't think of any particular reasons you would want that, but, you know, there might be some. Ooh. And yeah, that's not important, but cutting of defensive wall spikes used to move you really close and make things awkward. Now you still move closer, but not as close. It's quite a bit nicer. Another one that they've added, you can now build trampolines. So if I place that up there, yay, a trampoline. I'm just gonna actually move this to over here, and you can even jump on the trampoline. Whee! If you jump on it from a higher height, sometimes you'll fall right through. See, I'm standing on the ground now. Also, if you come at it from the right angle when you're walking, sometimes you'll fall right through. But that walking thing, if I wonder, can I do that like this? Let's just, come on, let me pull it out. Yeah, you can do that. Okay. Because I know I've seen someone else build a rather interesting thing with this. Theirs had slopes and all that involved, but you could build, or they built a, they called it a cannon, and I'm not sure, there we go. I'm not sure exactly how it worked, but they'd step out onto it and it would accelerate them at a high rate of speed, and if you were on a toboggan it would accelerate you even more. Oh yeah, there we go. I kinda got it. So when you're interacting with tarps, they can launch you pretty good. It's kinda interesting. And I believe that's it for the build changes in this update. So if you found this video useful and you would like to see more, I would greatly appreciate a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you very much.